Hi, I'm Jason, and today we're playing some mono-white heroic in Pauper. Ever since the banning of Basking Broodscale and the death of the Broodscale Glee combo, Snuff Out has become significantly less prevalent in the meta, and that gives way to these more aggro combo, all-in glass cannon type decks, things like Infect, Hot Dogs, and what we're trying today, mono-white heroic. So I decided to give this one a try. This is the first time I'm going to be playing the deck, but I get the general gist, which is that we have creatures like Lagona Band Trailblazer and Crowan Skyguard that get a counter every time that they're targeted by one of our spells, or Deathblade Elite, which can prevent all damage dealt to it and can also force your opponent to block with certain creatures, or a Sacred Cat, which comes back twice and has lifelink inherently, and then we buff it up with a bunch of our auras. This version, we're playing Solid Footing, which gives +1/+1 and deals damage equal to its toughness rather than power if the creature has Vigilance. This is mostly just for our Trailblazer, which essentially gives it 4 extra power if we give it a Sentinel's Eyes or a Homestead Courage. We also have Ethereal Armor, which buffs it for each enchantment we have on it and gives First Strike. Hyena Umbra protects it and also gives First Strike. Cartouche also gives First Strike, very important keyword, but also gives a 1/1 for us to potentially buff as well. Spirit Link is basically a lifelink granter, but it doubles up with Sacred Cat, or if we just put 2 of them on the same creature. Merge Unscathed is just a little bit of protection, and Benevolent Blessing is protection permanently. We can protect it from an entire color. We have a bunch of planes and a couple Secluded Steps. Then in our sideboard, we have a couple Death Speakers, which is just a 1/1 protection from black. Any black removal deck, we're going to want these. Any red or black removal deck, Mask of Law and Grace gives protection from those 2 colors. But also, if our opponent just has a lot of green or blue creatures, Shield of Duty and Reason will also protect from that. A couple more Spirit Link for those red matchups. Standard Bearer, this is mostly to counter opposing Standard Bearers so that we can cast things targeting our own, and a couple Thraben Charms for fast graveyard decks like a Cycle Storm or something like that. So let's jump into the games. Upstate New York Pauper is holding a charity tournament on June 21st to help support Trans Lifeline and the Trevor Project. This is looking to be a great tournament with a bunch of prizes and of course for a great cause. And if you're like me, pretty far away from New York, there's a place where you can donate so that you can stay involved. There's a link in the description for more details, and let's try to make the world just a little bit better. This hand looks solid. We have 2 creatures, 2 enchantments. I'd probably prefer the 3rd enchantment over a 3rd land, but I think this one seems okay. We are on the draw, which could be good or bad. They start with a mountain. Probably means it's going to be hard to kill the Trailblazer, but also I might just want to wait a turn and immediately equip it with like a Hyena Umbra. I think that seems a little bit better than just dying to 2 bolts. 2 bolts is a lot, but yeah, I think we'll wait 1 turn. Deathblade Elite is also decent. We could play that first, but I think, again, we can just wait. I think we might be okay. They're going to swing for 1, and it looks like red-black Madness. We're going to play Trailblazer. I'm not really worried they're going to have a way to deal 4 damage here, so we'll just go straight into the Hyena Umbra, I think, for the most protection. And ideally, we find a Spirit Link. If we get that up and going, it'll be really hard for them to win through it. But if we don't find that, it's going to be a race, and they definitely could win that race. Yep, they're going to Alms of Hadar here. Not Arms of Hadar is what I was getting confused. Alms of the Vein. Drain us for 3. We did get the Sentinel's Eyes, though, so we do have Vigilance with Solid Footing, which can deal a lot of damage. But they also have a Chump Blocker, so we'll see. Start with the Faithless. Into another Alms. They also pitch a land, so they surely already have a 3rd. Come on, Spirit Link. Jagged Barrens. Benevolent Blessing. Blessing can give protection from the Epicure. I don't know if they're going to chump if it's just 4 here. I'm going to hope they don't, and then I can get a Solid Footing on it. But we'll see. They are just going to. So I guess I'll play a Skyguard, which can just die, but if they bolt this, that's fine. I could have just put the Blessing on this for protection from red, which I'll probably have to do with this Epicure so that it can't block again. So we'll be up to, what, like 11 damage from this guy? Really need that Spirit Link. They pitch a Carnarium. Good sign. Then Vampire's Kiss. Another Blessing. Well, there's a world where they don't have a way to kill us this turn, in which case maybe we get there. But we're going to Blessing, Pro Red, attack for 12. Faithless Looting. Pitch 2 lands is nice. Play Carnarium. And flashback a Looting. Okay. Problem is we don't have lethal here. We have 11, 12, 13 with the Blessing. So I need to get something that gives 3. That would have to be like an Ethereal Armor. Pitch a Chain Lightning, so they gotta have 2 active cards, 2 live cards. Hyena Umbra doesn't quite give enough damage, right? Because this is 14, 15 with the Benevolent. Which means I guess I might as well leave this back for a Kitchen Imp in case they have that. And play an Elite. And hope we don't die. Vampire's Kiss. And they pass. Okay. Not sure how they survive here. If they have like an Alms, they can go up to 10. But this deals 11. I also have this guy too. They could have a Kitchen Imp, instant speed, which could block this. But then I have the other blessing to make it so that they can't block it with black creatures either. I think that's what they're doing. Yep, discard a Kitchen Imp, cast it, and then we're going to blessing in response on the Trailblazer for pro black. All right, that'll be game 1. We get Mask of Law and Grace and more Spirit Links. I think we just take out an equivalent number of blessings and then a couple cartouches, probably. Seems fine to me. I could bring in Death Speakers, but most of the removal is red, not black, so I don't think these are necessary. It's possible that the protection is important enough that I should just leave in all the blessings too. But we also have Hyena Umbras. I guess I could leave in, like, take out like 1 Homestead Courage, 1 Sentinel's Eyes. Leave in the blessings. This hand is incredible. Blessing is good, although obviously we'd prefer the cheaper one. But Spirit Link, 2 creatures, one of which comes back and has lifelink, Homestead Courage. Seems pretty good to me. Opponent mulligans to 5. That's going to help. And another Trailblazer. Okay, I'm just going to lead on 1 then. If they spend this turn double bolting it, then we have another one to follow up. They're just going to Faithless Looting. I guess my only concern is that they could have removal, like Dark Withering, like unconditional removal, as opposed to Fiery Tempers. They discard 2 Fiery Tempers. They just can't cast them. Brutal. They bog. Because I could go with a Homestead Courage and a Spirit Link and really buff this guy up. Solid Footing with a Courage. Doesn't gain us a bunch of life this turn, but actually it just deals them like 8 and makes it very hard for them to kill it. I think we're just going to go with that. If they have the unconditional removal, you know, they get us, but we still can rebuild. And next turn we can Spirit Link this guy and be gaining 9 off of him. That's pretty good. They got an Epicure. Maybe we just go with a Blessing. Make it so they can't block. Ethereal Armor. Yep, I think we just Blessing this guy up. Pro red. Because of the rough mulligan, we're just going to be able to... Oh, this doesn't have Vigilance this turn, so it's only 5, but still. The rough mulligan, they're not going to be able to probably keep up with us, and we can probably just kill them next turn. They ditch a Bolt. They have a Grab the Prize Snacker, but that's not going to do enough. So we're going to Courage to give Vigilance, Spirit Link for that Lifelink, and Ethereal Armor to rub it in. Hit for 17, Lifelink. Well, it's a life trigger, but... Alright. Alright, round 2 here. We got some creatures. We got some ways to pump them, so I think we keep it. We're also on the play. I think it's tough because we could lead with the Trailblazer, which doesn't die as easily if they just have like a Bolt. But we could lead with like a Deathblade, and if they have any 1-drop, say a Fairy or an Arbor Elf or a Valdaran Epicure, we can just provoke it. Kind of like that. Also, since we have 2 Deathblades, I think we're just going to lead on one of these guys. And they do just get to blast it, but that's okay. We can get down a Trailblazer and just Ethereal Armor it. +2/+2. Just the same as a Courage. I think we'll do that because the Courage is, yes, it gains Vigilance and it's not relevant this turn. But the Armor is more valuable, so if they find a way to kill it, I wouldn't like that. Okay, they got a Percussionist and they're on 1 land. So that seems pretty good for us. Solid Footing. That's also good with the Courage. So now I think we just Spirit Link and Ethereal Armor to gain a huge chunk of life. And they concede right there. Very nice. Quick game. Looks like mono red to me. I think we bring in the same 5 cards. But the Cartouche is a little better because the extra 1/1 could be pretty relevant. So I think we'll take out the Blessings and then go with the Courage and a Sentinel's Eyes, 1 of each. Again. Alright, here we got 2 creatures. We have a little protection. No life gain and no 4 toughness is relevant, but I don't think this one's bad enough to throw back. We just got to play it smart. Ethereal Armor's good, so I don't think I just run out of Deathblade. I think we can wait. They have a Percussionist. They're probably going to try to leave up a Bolt, which is fair. So I get to slow them down just by the threat of playing something. Cartouche. So if I play Deathblade now, and then I try to Hyena Umbra it, it's going to die. But I can just play a Death Blade and then pass, and if they try to bolt it, I can emerge unscathed. They have a Lava Dart. Well, that's annoying because they can reuse it really easily, but we're going to keep our guy alive. And they got an Epicure and a Blast. Swing for 2. Emerge unscathed, can't rebound. Now we get a Trailblazer. That's good. Because we couldn't play the Skyguard because of the Lava Dart, but now we can play this and then get a Hyena Umbra on it. Now it needs to take 6 damage, which is pretty much 2 spells, and then the Umbra falls off, but it removes all damage, which means that they have to cast another 2 spells. So this guy is pretty close to indestructible now. Now we just need to find lifelink for it. They're going to try, though. They have a Galvanic Blast and a Lightning Bolt. That's going to get rid of the Hyena Umbra. I guess if they have a Fire Blast, they could attack in and then do something. Just swing with the Percussionist. I think they'd swing with everything if they had a Fire Blast. Plus, they're losing on their land, so I think they're just digging, and I think that's fine. I guess if they get a Mountain and have a Bolt, and then the Lava Dart from the graveyard, they could get there, but they turn up a Tomb Raider, so I think we're looking fine. Another Trailblazer. So we're going to Cartouche this guy, and just Vigilance, I guess. Attack for 5. They can block if they'd like. But now we have blockers. So they're in a tough spot, even if we don't find lifelink, but if we do, it's going to be a game over. They get a Mountain. Tomb Raider. No attacks. Solid footing. I could Courage here, but I'm gonna just swing, and I'm gonna play another Trailblazer and just leave it up. And if they try to kill it with anything, then I have a solid footing at flash speed to grow it. We get in for another 5. So if they have like a Galvanic here, I can keep it alive. They're gonna pitch a Mountain. Another Tomb Raider. No attacks. I'm going to guess they don't have a removal spell for this. We're going to take the chance. I don't want to waste this mana while we don't have a lot. If they've got a Blast here, that's fine. Not really the end of the world anyway, but it looks like not. So we'll Courage this guy, give it Vigilance, and that means it's going to be hitting for 8. Attack with these 2. Force at least 1 chump. They block both. And I'll just pass. If I play the Skyguard, it dies to Lava Dart. I really only want to Ethereal Armor this Warrior token, and that also dies to Lava Dart, so I think I'm just fine here. They got a Percussionist and a Mountain. Another Plains. I guess now we play the Skyguard so that they have to use the Dart on it, and then we can armor up the Warrior next turn, potentially. They're going to chump both. They're worried about the protection, but I'm not really sure how they win if they chump with everything. Flip up a Synth. We'll play our Skyguard. They start with the Synth. Into a Chain Lightning, and they concede. All right, we're a little overcrowded with creatures and only 1 land, but we can kind of do a lot with that land if we get like Trailblazer, Solid Footing, Sentinel's Eyes. We're also on the play. Opponent mulls to 5. We got an okay shot, I think. Looks like Boros Synth, maybe like a Jeskai, I suppose. I think we lead on a Trailblazer, the hardest one to kill. They shouldn't. Ooh, Mardu Synth, maybe. Prophetic Prism, okay. Mardu Synth doesn't usually play Tithing Blades at this point. Second land's great. So I think I might be okay. They could just have cast downs, but I think we're going to go for this. This fast clock. 8 damage a turn. Any removal here really stops us, but it feels very fast, and with their mulligan, I don't really want to give them much leeway. They do get a Seeker, but that's fine. Benevolent Blessing can give pro white, which I don't need. I think I just attack and I hold up Blessing in case they have like a cast down or double Galvanic or something. It's really only bad if they have like a Tithing Blade, but I just don't think that's super likely. It's just very hard to fit all of those cards into a Mardu Synth. And if they have Seeker the way, I'm not really gonna assume they could fit in a Tithing Blade. They do play a Synth. Let's see what they get. It's a Lightning Bolt. And if they just tap out here, then we can go with the Benevolent Blessing on white. They won't have anything. Oh, but they do have a Familiar, so we're not going to be able to get protection from everything. We'll just pitch a Cat here, I guess, since it can come back. They have an Ancient Den. They're going to use that Bolt? No, they play a Skyfisher. Okay. If they pick up Familiar, then we can give pro white. And they do. Well, that was their mistake. Because this doesn't make our own stuff fall off. Or is an equipment you control that are already attached to it. Alright, good. So pro-white, and now they can't block. So that was game 1. We don't actually really have any artifact removal, do we? Most of their creatures are white. They have black, they have red. So I think the blessings are probably the most important because they probably have bolts and stuff. We saw a bolt, but galvanics. But they also probably have Thraben Charms and or Journey to Nowhere. So I kind of like the blessing as a catch-all. I don't think we need Thraben Charms or Death Speakers. I don't think we really need anything from our sideboard, to be honest. Do we have anything in our main deck that's bad? Not particularly. I kind of like a Spirit Link or two because they can do a lot of damage out of nowhere. Or if they just get a lot of creatures, it can allow us to race. I think we're just going to run it like this. Maybe Emerge Unscathed, since we're never going to want to choose white, would be better on like, it's like a Mask of Lawn Grace to give preemptive pro red and black. You know, maybe that makes sense to me. Like these can also be good as pro blue or pro green, but we're not going to want to give pro white because it's going to make all of our auras fall off. It doesn't have the same clause as the blessing. So I think I'd prefer just the mask to prevent their removal. This hand looks reasonable again. Some creatures, some pump, and some lands. So any hand that you have 2 or 3 of each of these different categories, you're usually in a good spot. I would say probably 2 creatures, 3 enchantments, 2 lands is kind of the sweet spot. But any 2/2/3 is going to be pretty decent. Opponent mulligans to 5, so they are not having much luck again. Goldmire Bridge, get a Sentinel's Eyes. Yeah, I think I'm just going to lead with the Trailblazer, hardest to kill. They got a Vault of Whispers and nothing. Okay. Maybe they have like a cast down, but no refurb or anything is interesting. Let's just Sentinel's Eyes, see what happens here. And they do have the cast down. Wish we had the protection, but we'll just play a Deathblade Elite. Yeah, I thought that was a possibility. I could have just played the Skyguard in that case, but it seems fine to me. They do have Rustveil. They could have another cast down. Let's just go for a Homestead Courage. And I think we'll just swing with this guy and then play in a Crone Skyguard. Try to diversify a little bit. They have a refurb. We'll discard a Homestead Courage. And they do have a Tithing Blade. Okay. I think we're getting rid of the Skyguard because this guy has a little bit of built-in protection. Prevent all... Oh, it is only combat damage, so it doesn't prevent bolts. But I can also just use it to kill their familiar, so we'll lose the Skyguard. They got a land, so 1 card left. Another Skyguard. Let's Courage here, attack, make them lose their guy. Obviously, we want to get in for damage, but if they have like a Hawk or something and replay this, I don't really want that to happen. And we have at least another Skyguard if they do rebuy the Tithing Blade. They get a Prism and a Synth, do a Great Furnace. And they pass. Solid Footing can be a decent buff spell. So let's Homestead Courage on the Skyguard. And I guess Sentinel's Eyes on the Skyguard, because the Skyguard grows when we buff it. So it's more damage faster. And we have 8. And then with the Solid Footing, which I'm going to leave up as a combat trick in case they have like a Lightning Bolt on the Deathblade Elite. But that's going to be lethal next turn. They can make a Synth guy, though. Which looks like they're going to have to. Indeed. Into a Skyfisher is pretty good. Pick up the Tithing Blade. Ancient Den. I think we'll leave Solid Footing. It just makes it so that like a Laguna Band Trailblazer is like a really good top deck. Deathblade Elite's not bad. We're going to Sentinel's Eyes this guy. So that if we attack and they double block it, I can Solid Footing to kill their guys. Which they are. Solid Footing on this guy. Eat both of them, and I'll play a 1/1 that eats the Tithing Blade. Now I have 2 lethal attackers. They're in a rough spot. There's the Blade. If they have like a Glint Hawker or Core Skyfisher, they're definitely not dead, because they can rebuy this, kill one of these, and then chump, and they do. I think we'll just lose the Skyguard, because the flying is pretty irrelevant in this matchup, and being able to kill their creature if we want is good. We get another Skyguard. I mean, I guess we want to choose that they don't have to block, because if they don't block, then... they lose. But dang, they saw the line. We're going to play our Skyguard. More Tithing Blade prevention. Another Glint Hawk. They're drawing the right cards to survive. They can just keep doing this and I can't get another creature, then they can kill our guy. There's the Tithing. Plains. Well, there's no reason to throw a Sentinel's Eyes on it because I don't expect them to be able to gain life. So we'll just attack. Hold the Plains for a refurb and hope they don't draw another Skyfisher or Glint Hawk. Duress us. We have a Plains, so that's nice. And they got nothing. Kind of weird that they would pass here if they had like a cast down because they know we don't have protection and now we could draw it, but maybe they're just waiting for us to kill them. Maybe they have some life gain. They have a Thraben Charm. Okay, so I should have Sentinel's Eyes maybe. I guess we'll cycle this in case we get something. Nope. Alright, hit for 4. We'll play a Sacred Cat and we'll pass. Still looking okay, I think. They drew another Tithing Blade. Luckily we got the Sacred Cat, so we won. Alright, round 4 here. Got our first really bad hand, no lands. Second bad hand, no creatures. We had such a good thing going. I think we gotta go to 5 with no creatures. This one's got a creature. And if we don't get blown out, it's pretty decent with solid footing, although no way to get vigilance. So we gotta keep this one. I think we put back Emerge and Hyena Umbra. And we start with our Trailblazer. Opponent on 6, so we might be okay. Maybe I should have just kept both Hyena Umbras, to be honest. Looks like Jund Wildfire. I think we should be faster than them, but with our mulligan, it might be pretty rough. Gonna get the Hyena Umbra going and attack for 2. Only 2, though. We had other hands where we were dealing 8 already. They got their Wildfire. I guess we just want like a Plains. We can go Blessing to keep this clear of like a Krark. But Writhing Chrysalis is going to be a real pain too. Do get our Plains. Or I could just go with Cartouche and Solid Footing. But if they get Krark Toxin, we're kind of dying. I think that's fine though. I think we gotta just chance it and try to hit for as much as possible. Just there's so many things they could have, and we're only dealing 2, so I don't feel like I can hold up the Blessing, whereas now that we're dealing 6, I'm fine to start holding up Blessing, but if this is the turn where they get us, you know, it's rough. But like 1 cast down doesn't do it. There's a Krark, so if they have the Toxin, it's pretty rough. But they don't, they just have a Wellspring, okay. I mean, they're never killing this with a normal Krark and a Plane, so I think I probably just give this pro red right now, so I can get in for 8, 7, I guess. It's tough because if they have like a cast down, but we have protection from that with the Hyena Umbra, we're never getting protection from a Krark, not a Krark, a Writhing Chrysalis. And it makes it so that there's no shenanigans with them like toxining in response, so I think we do just go for it. I don't really want them to chump, is the thing. Even just that 1 extra turn can be brutal. So I think we go for it. Red. We just, of course, swing with both. This guy's pretty much useless now, so I assume just to trade with the Warrior. And, I mean, they gotta have something. I'm not really gonna be surprised if they have, you know, a Writhing Chrysalis or a Refurb or whatever. But they're gonna sack the Wellspring to draw a card, and also sack their Landscape. Hit for 7, and there's nothing in our deck that needs a Plains, or rather needs a 3rd land. I think we'll just pass. If they refurb us, I'd rather them not draw an extra card. They do have the Chrysalis and the Landscape, so that's 3 extra turns right there. I don't think there's a reason to throw Ethereal Armor on this. It's already first strike, it's already lethal, and it's already big enough that they're not going to deal it normal damage to kill it. So I guess now we just have to take 3 turns to go through this Chrysalis. They have a Cleansing Wildfire and a Lembus, so some life gain. Makes this not currently lethal. And they'll swing for 3. Not expecting any removal from us. Interesting. Yep, another Blessing isn't bad, but it's not great either. I think we have to just play the Ethereal Armor to make sure that this is lethal. Because if I attack and they don't block and they just take it and go to 1, like, I've just given them an extra turn. And we get to hold up Blessing if they do find a cast down or another way to kill it or something. They do have the cast down. All right, we have a Blessing for that. That's nice. Of course, we still have the Hyena Umbra on it, but there's no other color that we'd care to give this protection from. I guess maybe green for a Nyxborn Hydra blocking. I don't know. I think it's fine. If they have another cast down, we're going to have to use it anyway. I don't know. Ideally, they have this Chrysalis. They can jump for 1 turn, and then the following turn, they won't have anything. And that'll be that. They do just play an Enormous Hydra, but that's fine because they have to chump with one of these. We have a Secluded Step. We'll just cycle it. I don't think there's anything I can really get that's going to do anything here. We don't have any way to give evasion other than protection, but we'll swing, eat the Chrysalis, and pass. I mean, I guess in a world where they play like another Chrysalis and then a Hydra bestowed on this Hydra, they can kind of race us. Oh, they have a Pulsum Rasa for a Chrysalis. That's upsetting. Pulse, I guess the life gain doesn't matter yet, even with the Lembas, but one more Lembas would put them over the top. Plus they can swing with their Hydra now. And then I can't really swing with my Trailblazer because I'm going to be losing the race. Deathblade Elite. I mean, part of me wants to sandbag this until I have something that can protect it. I guess that makes some sense. Especially if they play like a makeshift munitions or something. It's just kind of a waste. Mono White needs a Rancor. That's what would push this deck over the edge. Blood Fountain. So I'm like never getting through this. It looks like they got another Hydra. Makes this a pitiful 13-14. Still can't even swing in. Lanes. I guess we'll pass. Usually they only play 2 Hydras, but I guess if they find a third somehow. If they have a third in their deck, then they might be able to outclass our guy. Viscerator's Insight. They will definitely mill out before we do. Another Chrysalis. This might be one of our worst matchups. Krark is like annoying, but honestly just the fact that we have no evasion for any of their creatures is really unfortunate. Like, yeah, we have some flyers, but everything that they have has reach, pretty much. So I guess a flyer would not have to deal with the Eldrazi spawn, but otherwise it would still have to deal with everything else. And then they have a fair amount of removal. Offering. There's a refurb. Map onto the refurb. Keep a Wellspring. And they found a makeshift munitions. Alright, there's no way we're going to be able to beat them before they makeshift us, so let's not waste any time. I guess we need some removal. And Mask of Law and Grace is decent. Protection from their main removal colors. Spirit Link's fine, but I don't think we need more than 2. In fact, I don't actually think we need the Spirit Links. We just need to go faster. If we had if we had more than 1 mana on turn 1 and 2, I think we would have been okay. But it was just too slow. Alright, this one's not amazing. We do have Cat into make it a 4/4. Yeah, I mean, we're not going to mulligan this, but it does die to removal pretty easily, since we don't have any protection or Umbra armor or anything. But we're going to start with a Cat. I got a tap land. I could just play a Skyguard, which I guess is better against a Krark. Still just dies to a cast down. I guess we got to play around the Krark. So this also gives us an extra turn to commit to one of our creatures, which means if we can find like Hyena Umbra or something, we can have a little more protection. But that's what we got right now. We're going to go for the Wildfire, so I would love something big. Another armor could be good, just as like a lot of damage. But a Hyena Umbra I think would be really strong. Trailblazer is not amazing. I think we just got to go all in on this Skyguard then. And attack for 7. But also play this Trailblazer so that they might want to like split between a Krark and like a cast down, and I don't know. We don't have anything else going on, so hopefully this will get there. We got a Wellspring, and they leave up 2 mana. We get an Ethereal Armor. We're going to cast that on the Trailblazer in case they have anything. We're diversifying our threats. And they concede. All right. Fast enough start. Not an incredible opener, but like pretty good for us, and clearly they were a little slow. Of course, I play a lot of Jund Wildfire, love the deck, but it is very susceptible before turn 4 and even turn 3, before turn 3 and even sometimes turn 4. Until it gets like Chrysalis mana, it's pretty rough. But we're on the draw now, so we'll see how that goes. All right, we got a mulligan. This one's okay. A little bit of protection. We do have a bit of a combo. We got to keep 2 lands, though. So we got to get rid of something. We either got to get rid of our second creature. I'm not going to be able to hold up this protection for several turns, though. Because I'm going to go like Trailblazer turn 1, turn 2 Step and Courage. Turn 3, maybe I can do Footing and hold up Emerge. I think it's probably... I guess if we kind of want to go fast, all in on 1, I guess we're going to do it. Tough call, though. Definitely a hand that is much worse with a tap land. Another Trailblazer is not terrible. They have a Wellspring, but a little better than a Cleansing Wildfire, I suppose. We get a Hyena Umbra. Okay, that's something. A little bit of protection. So it doesn't die instantly now. And then ideally we can, in a turn or 2, hold up this Unscathed when they go for like a Krark or something. They got a Troublemaker Oof. That's annoying. Takes away our Hyena Umbra. Yep, should have seen that coming. But they pass. Plains. Alright, well, I'm going to Courage this guy, and if they let it through, I'm going to throw a Solid Footing on there for a bunch of extra damage and leave up the Emerge unscathed. They do just chump, I'll just play another Trailblazer. But if they're like, oh, 3 damage, well, we're going to make it 9. And that's exactly what we'll do. Put them to 9 and hold up the protection. And maybe go for it next turn. If they tap out and don't deploy any more creatures except for green ones, maybe we'll be okay. There's a Krark. Honestly, because we have the Emerge, I would love for them to go Toxin, double activate, or rather single activate because they got rid of the Hyena Umbra. But but since they have to single activate, I actually can't protect it because they could do it again. I'll have to protect it before. Okay, they're attacking. That's weird. Probably just because it's going to die anyway. I don't think there's any way this matters. I guess they could give Death Touch to it now, and then I could protect it, and then it upkeeps. Protect from red, that would be fine. They'd have to tap out now. Okay, I'll do that. They have it. We can Emerge. For just a green, I don't think they can have anything. So we get protection from green, so that it can't kill our guy. And then at our upkeep, we get protection from red, so we get past this guy, and then we give Unblockable. Or rather, Vigilance. Seems good. Another heroic trigger. Throw red. And a Blessing. Alright, well, Homestead Courage, give Vigilance. That'll be lethal. And if they somehow have a way to kill it with a green spell, I have Benevolent Blessing. Alright, 4-0. We're against Illuminati. They play Mono Blue Terror, I think? Probably some other stuff, too. Hand seems okay. 1 land, but a lot of protection, life gain in case we're against red or something, and a bunch of 1-drops. Well, 2 1-drops. So that's good enough for me. Does look like Mono Blue Terror. I think this is a decent hand against them, too, although obviously we'd want a second land, preferably. But I think start with the Trailblazer and hope for no Force Spike. We're good. Brainstorm. Now, if we don't draw a land and we just get counterspelled for every spell we play, that's going to be rough. Well, we did get a land. Umbra Armor doesn't really matter this early. I guess just Sentinel's Eyes is the best here. Also, if we just get bounced, the Boomerang, that's going to be pretty tough. But we're just going to swing for 2. That's not enough to get Boomeranged, right? No. And then we'll play a Secluded Step and we'll pass. They have Elorian. If we can find a time to Benevolent Blessing for Pro Blue, then it should just be a pretty easy game. But that's going to be a tough ask, I think. Well, another Blessing. I don't think I can just go like Armor Hyena Umbra because the chances of them having a Boomerang is just so high that I think we just attack. But I don't think I can just leave up a Blessing because the chances they tap out are like nothing. So I think I'll play a cat to diversify, I guess. Play Ethereal Armor on it. They counterspell that. That's fine. And they Mental Note. Brainstorm. That means they can play some Terrors. They play Terrors and tap out, though, and I can get this to be big enough to block a Terror. That's fine. I don't think that's going to happen. No. They're just going to pass. Another Trailblazer. We're going to swing. I think this is the turn that we're just going to pass. Hold up Blessing. They Thought Scour, mill a Deep Analysis, and then probably their end step try to Blessing, they counterspell, and then on our turn we Blessing. There's a Terror. There's a Serpent. Although if I Blessing here and they bounce, it's going to be pretty bad, but what do you got to do? What are you going to do? I got to go for it, I think. I have a counterspell, that's fine. Because I can just untap and do it anyway. Pro Blue, and now what can they do about that? Basically nothing. Although it's only a 4/8. Well, it doesn't matter because they can't block it. Oh, it doesn't give +1/+1. I was thinking it would, but it's fine because I can block and I should be fine now. Because next turn we can make it pretty much lethal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, super lethal. I have a Lorien and a Ponder. Probably might as well swing. I mean, I can't kill. Well, I can trade a Sacred Cat for one of them, which is pretty good. So I guess I will. But yeah, they don't got much going on. And then I can Ethereal Armor and Hyena Umbra. Attack for 11. All right. So that was pretty good. Benevolent Blessing, definitely MVP. We also have Shield of Duty and Reason, which is pro green and blue. So blue is obviously relevant. Thraben Charm blows up graveyards. I don't know if that's really where we want to be, but let's take a look. I think Emergent Scathe is probably worth keeping in because it could just be unblockable for 1 turn, but I gotta assume somewhere, at least their sideboard, they gotta have some way to bounce. Spirit Link feels maybe necessary to have at least 1 to race. I guess maybe Emergent Scathe isn't necessary with Shield and Benevolent Blessing. I guess Hyena Umbra feels less relevant, because if we have First Strike, the Umbra doesn't matter. So these are probably our worst card in this match. So we can cut most of those. I guess First Strike is still pretty good, and it being an aura, so maybe like 2 and 2 with the Homestead Courage. Thraben Charm can exile a graveyard or blow up a creature. Again, we want to be more aggressive than them. I think actually these probably we just don't do. We keep in like this. Protection is the most important thing, and then after protection, we want like a Spirit Link or something, so we just can't lose. So maybe we would bring in like one more Spirit Link. I don't know. We'll do that. Oh my gosh, this is all the protection in the world, but no creatures. I don't think we can keep it. This is, if this were a growing creature, I might. I mean, protection, but we're never going to get through counterspells here. And this is just okay. I mean, this is what I was saying, like an acceptable, a good 7-card hand is 2, 2, and 3, but now we're at 5 cards. I guess we get rid of Hyena Umbra and Sacred Cat. Opponent's on 7, so this is going to be a tough one. Another Sentinel's Eyes. We're going to get down Death Blade before there's counterspells up. Plains. Let's play Sentinel's Eyes. Attack for 2. I think we're just playing a Plains and cycling this step. I don't really want to go all in on this until we have some protection on it. Especially because this isn't a growing guy. Like, if it's more okay to go in on a Trailblazer because it grows twice as fast. But this guy, like, I could put 3 cards on it and it's like a 6/6. That's not good enough. Cycle a step. There's a shield. There's a Plains. What's the chances I can go with an Ethereal Armor? It gets countered, but then I can put a shield on it, and that's fine. I guess we're going to try it. Like, if this gets countered, they could have a Spell Pierce for this, but maybe they don't. Okay, they just let it go. That makes me think it can get bounced pretty easily. So I actually don't want to really go in on it. Hit for 4 and we'll pass. It's also possible that they just didn't want to fall for the bait, which is reasonable. We are repping a Benevolent Blessing. They brainstorm. There's a Demon Inferior. Yep. I guess I have to do second from the top just because I need a creature. But it's a pretty bad one at this point. They could mill us, I suppose. The Thought Scour, but then they don't have a counterspell mana up. Yeah, they are going to do that. Ideally, we draw a creature off the top and then we can shield it with no counterspells. No, we get another shield, which is great if we can get a creature. But if they start landing serpents, we're dead. Well, there's one. And there's a Thought Scour. And there's a second. Creature this turn or we lose. Step is pretty bad, because even if we find the creature, we have less mana for it. But we do find it. And I'm going to try to give it protection. Hopefully no Force Spike, or rather Spell Pierce. A null, that's about the same. Alright, we have a 1/5. They have a shield. No, not a shield, a Sleep of the Dead. Okay, I guess we need another creature off the top. Spirit Link. Nope, that's not going to do it. If we had just not, if that Secluded Step was just the Trailblazer, then we could have had the second shield protection, then we can block one of these, and then we can probably get back in the game with the Spirit Link, but nope. Obviously, if we had a Thraben Charm there, maybe we can blow up one of their guys, but that's just not the winning strategy here. So let's not mold a 5, and we might be okay. 3 Ethereal Armors, but no creatures. I mean, we got a mulligan. This one's okay. We're gonna give it a try. Put back a Plains. Actually, I think I'll put back the Emerge. Yeah, just because if I can get a Blessing off, then we won't need the Emerge, is my thought. I guess I just gotta pass. I could play a Skyguard, but that doesn't seem good. If they tap out at all there, I can go for a Blessing. If not, they might counter this on the end step, but ideally it would be an actual counterspell. No, it's just an annul. Well, I guess we try again when they have just 1 mana. They probably have the second annul, and they do. Spirit Link, and hope they don't have a way to bounce it. Thought Scour into Demon Inferior. I guess I don't need this guy now. I need ways to pump this Skyguard or this Deathblade Elite. Unfortunate. Might have been too aggressive going for the second Blessing because I knew they probably just had another annul, but it felt like we kind of had to try. I don't know. Thought Scour, Dragon Wings, another Thought Scour, into a Brainstorm, and they got the Terror. And we just got a Plains. I think we're just going to lose. Oh, well, that's bad. I was going to make it so that they have to block this, but I have to pay 2 to keep this alive, which means I should have played this because I forgot about the ward. We're pretty dead anyway. Kind of anticlimactic, but we were never going to get there. ethereal armors that would do +1/+1 and then +2/+2, probably getting countered. Unfortunately, we were just going to die. So, I mean, we got a nice 4-1 with the league. Annoying that we didn't get that last match. Honestly, I think it was mostly the mulligan in game 2. Otherwise, we had a pretty decent game. I probably did misplay that Benevolent Blessing, the second one. Just really didn't want them to have the double and null hand. Maybe a little lucky for them, but probably a misplay on my part. In any case, we did pretty well with the deck. This type of deck just seems really hot right now, especially Bogles and Heroic that can gain life gain, because there's so much red and madness running around that going for Infect or Kiln Fiend is good, but you can just win by having a big lifelinker, and that's something you can't get with those decks. Thank you very much to my patrons, including my $10 patrons, Howard Granger, FaZe, and Styx, who make it a lot easier for me to make these videos every single week. I really appreciate it, and I will see you all next time.